30,000 emergency meals meant for the disaster-stricken area were all sent to the incinerator as hazardous waste. The order to destroy them came from the deputy chief of the health department, Joanne Shea, my wife. The whistleblower was her childhood friend, Kevin Stafford, who claimed to be a retired undercover journalist. This was already the third time he had targeted my company. The first time he reported my truck for illegal parking. Joanne then forced me to issue a public apology. The second time, he conducted an undercover investigation and accused me of violating packaging label regulations. Joanne issued a fine without hesitation and ordered my company to undergo a month-long rectification. Each time, Joanne has sided with him, using me as an example for others to learn from. This time, with water and electricity cut off in the disaster area, I rushed supplies there overnight only to be blocked at the entrance once again. Holding the certification of compliance, I pleaded, "The front lines can't wait. If anything goes wrong, I'll take the blame with my life." However, Joanne coldly waved me off. Kevin is a journalist. He would never take the disaster area lightly. Destroy the supplies immediately. 2 days later, the lab report confirmed that the food met all standards. However, the emergency rations had already been destroyed, and the poisoned meals for disaster relief scandal had spread like wildfire online. The company faced a widespread online boycott and major clients terminated their contracts overnight. Joanne looked at the lab report. She felt guilty but still kept her arrogance. I guess Kevin misjudged the situation, but he meant well. I found it all hilarious and slipped off my wedding ring. "I've given you 3 chances. Let's get a divorce." I took my ring and casually tossed it onto the table. Joanne furrowed her brow and stared blankly for several seconds before adopting an exasperated expression. "Liam Seymour, can't you act a little more mature? I'm cooperating with the media to handle food safety investigations. Procedurally, there's no issue. You know full well what the situation is like in the disaster area. With tens of thousands of lives at stake, I have to minimize the risk as much as possible." When she said that before, it used to sound reassuring. Hearing it again at this moment felt as cold as a scalpel cutting through bone. Before the emergency rations were incinerated, I handed her the quality inspection report. She did not even glance at it. She looked down, tapped her phone, and then spoke one word into the walkie-talkie. She said, "Proceed." Kevin wore that "I'm here to mediate" look of discomfort. "Mr. Seymour, this is my fault." He kept his tone controlled, filled with guilt and self-criticism. "I've done plenty of undercover investigations into black market workshops before. When I saw the meat in the meal boxes was the wrong color, I was afraid the people in the disaster area would get sick. So I quickly reported it to Joanne and exposed it on the live stream. It was just my professional instinct kicking in. Don't take it out on Joanne." During the live stream, he had looked straight into the camera, expressing deep outrage and accusing me of profiteering off a national disaster. At this moment, he was standing right in front of me while pretending to be an impartial observer. He sure changed his tune fast. "If you suspected it was a coincidence, why did your live streaming team set up 4 camera angles in advance? The press release about poisoned meals for disaster relief was released exactly 1 minute before the raid. Mr. Stafford, does your professional instinct come with the ability to predict the future?" Kevin's mouth twitched slightly. Joanne immediately stepped forward and stood in front of him. "Liam, don't go too far. The media just happened to capture it while covering the relief efforts. Kevin is a journalist who's serving the people. Do you really have to assume everyone is so sinister?" She spread her arms to shield him. I looked down at the ring on the table. It was a simple silver band. She had slipped it onto my finger herself 3 years ago. She had said, "From now on, you're under my care." Her eyes had crinkled with a smile. "May your light illuminate all the darkness." With that, I walked out. "Liam!" she called after me.